Hello and welcome to Mary's Nutrition Show, coming to you live from Seattle, Washington. Now, here's your host, Registered Dietitian Nutritionist, Mary Purdy.
Well, hello everybody. I am Mary Purdy of Mary's Nutrition Show. Welcome to another wonderful and beautiful Tuesday evening. I'd like to introduce the man behind the camera, my producer, videographer, and yes, my husband, Keith Hitchcock of Hocus Pocus Media.
Hello, I'm on the other side of the kitchen counter.
He's basically just right here. We could be having dinner, basically. So, today's topic, well, it's the exciting topic of fat. Friend, foe, or just plain frickin' delicious. Oh, fat. It's so controversial and it's so confusing. There are the people in the camp where they believe fat is bad, fat-free everything. And then there's the people in the camp who believe fat is fantastic and they eat an entire jar of coconut oil before 12 noon. Well, I am here to hopefully clear some things up because fat is very important for your brain, for your heart, for your skin, and for every single cell in your body. So today I will be answering 4 commonly asked questions about fat.
Sounds like the FAQ on FAT, Mary.
Oh, I like it. Yes. And you are going to want to stick around because question number 4 might just answer a question in your head that's going to be highly beneficial for you to know about. So tune in, stay tuned, and that's it.
Theme music.
Ooh.
Bow, bow, ba-dum, bow, bow.
Okay. So fat is also very personal, and the recommendations around fat intake are going to depend on your medical history, on your genetics, and of course on your personal food preferences. So it's great to work with an individual practitioner to personalize the recommendations. That being said, I also want to say, please consult your doctor before taking any advice from today's show, and also please know that the opinions expressed on the show are exclusively those of Mary Purdy, that's me, and Keith Hitchcock, the producer, that's that guy over there, and are not necessarily reflective or representative of opinions and policies of Arivale, Bastyr, or dietitians in Integrative and Functional Medicine.
Okay, if you are watching live out there, thank you for joining us. Yay. Feel free to join in the chat and ask questions at will. We may not be able to answer your question until the Q&A section, but that is coming. Hey, on that note, question from last week.
Oh, okay.
We were talking about energy, boosting energy in a natural way, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, thank you. Do you feel boosted?
Oh, I've had a lot of energy this past
week.
Have you? Yeah.
Wow.
But one of your points was increasing your fluid intake.
Yes.
One of the fluids you mentioned was a carbonated beverage. I want to give you the opportunity, Mary Purdy, to clarify what you meant, because I feel you might have given people the notion like, hey, run out and get a Coca-Cola or a 7-Up or
you are right.
One of these
You're
things.
right. That is a carbonated beverage, but those were not the carbonated beverages I had in mind. When I say carbonated beverages, I should have specified a non-sweetened carbonated beverage like seltzer or soda water with a splash of something in it, perhaps like a little bit of juice or a little bit of a twist of lemon or lime or grapefruit. I thought I mentioned that with a twist of various types of citrus. So I would not advise getting your energy up with a Coca-Cola, 7-Up, or Dr. Pepper. Although I did enjoy Dr. Pepper back in the day, but that was long ago.
Hey, did you ever have knee high?
No, but I remember hearing that term.
Yeah. It's this blue drink.
Oh God!
And it was a cream soda.
Oh Lord!
I mean, I didn't know about blue drinks back then.
You didn't know you were drinking lighter fluid.
Oh, but it was so good. The cream soda.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those were the days when we were ignorant and just enjoying our Mountain Dews.
What's our main topic today?
Oh, yes. I was getting lost in my past. Today's topic, as I mentioned, is fats. And the thing that I want to talk about first are what are fats even? Fats are one of the major macro or major nutrients in our diet, and they come in a variety of different foods like avocados, nuts, seeds, olives, a variety of parts of animals, dairies, that would be dairy, coconut. And then of course there are the oils that are made from nuts, seeds, avocado, olives, coconut. So those are the main components of the fat group. So question number 1, the FAQ on the FAT is how much fat should I be eating? Good question, right? People are confused. How much fat do I need?
How much fat?
How much fat? Of course, it's going to be individual to you depending on what's going on. But approximately, give or take, it should be about 30% of your calories. That doesn't mean 30% of your entire food, but 30% of your calories. So people probably want to know, well, what does that look like? Some people it's going to be a little bit less. Some people it might be more, depending on what your needs are. But let's give you a general sense of what that looks like. So perhaps half of an avocado, although I took some of this one before the show started, about 14 grams of fat. A fourth of a cup of almonds, about 14 grams of fat. A tablespoon of olive oil, about 14 grams of fat. How about a fourth of a cup of olives, Keith?
8 grams of fat.
Wrong. 4 grams of fat. Although some olives are a little bit more fatty.
Yeah, I was thinking of big fat ones.
Yep, I understand.
Yeah.
3 ounces of salmon, which I don't happen to have here. But imagine you see a little salmon slice here. 3 ounces, about
14 grams.
No, let's go back to 4 grams of fat.
Really?
I know.
Not very much.
I know. And then a piece of cheese, 1 ounce of cheese, which is equal to 2 as in dice. 9 grams.
That's what I was going to
say. I could see
9
the
grams.
Coming out of your mouth. 9 grams of fat. So just to give you that idea, it can add up pretty quickly. So 30% is going to be equal about 60 grams of fat-ish per day. So take into consideration the various different sources of fat you may have, whether it's from an avocado, a salad dressing, all of those different items that I just mentioned, and make sure you're not overdoing it, but make sure you're not underdoing it either.
Okay, gosh, got about 60 grams of fat per day.
That was a fattening
depending.
subject.
Yeah, that's only question 1.
That's only question 1.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Okay, 60 grams of fat. Okay, and you have the little helpful thing, the label on the back of the...
Yeah, that can be helpful as well to gauge the general amount. But remember, look at the actual amount that's indicated in the serving size. Because sometimes you think, oh, there's only 12 grams of fat here, but the serving size is actually, a tablespoon, and you just had 3 tablespoons. So good to take note of that. All right, are we ready for question number 2?
Let's go on.
Question number 2, commonly asked question number 2, is fat fattening? The answer? Yes, no, maybe, and it depends. And there's a lot of that in the nutrition world, I have to admit. It's really going to depend on many, many different factors. This is much more nuanced. No one food necessarily is considered to be fattening. Really, it is about a sedentary lifestyle and a diet that is excessive or overabundant in foods that are high in calories and low in nutritional value that may contribute to weight gain. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, fats are definitely going to be higher in calories, but they also help to satiate you. So they can actually make you feel full during a meal, which prevents overeating later on, which can also lead to weight gain. So in that way, they can actually be protective towards gaining, or protective to gaining extra weight. The other thing that's good to know is back to that genetics piece. Some people are more predisposed to weight gain when they have a high-fat diet. And in particular, some people are more prone to weight gain when they have a large amount of saturated fats in their diet, which is a certain kind of fat. So the best thing to do is to experiment. If you're struggling with weight gain, struggling with keeping on a weight that feels healthy for you, and that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, then experiment with the amount of fat in your diet and make sure that you're not completely cutting it out, because I promise you, you will be hungry.
Yeah, I think the point that I want to iterate there, and what I feel like I've learned from you, Mary, is that I want to be sure to actually have fat, actually eat enough fat in a meal so that I feel satiated, and that I don't keep on going back and getting more and more and more, whatever. Yeah.
Yes, and yes again. So remember, we go back to that around 60 grams of fat per day, which equals somewhere around the 15 to 20 grams per meal. So if you're missing out on that, if you have a meal that's only 5 grams of fat, or maybe even 0 grams of fat because you're having your fat-free dressing on your salad, chances are you're going to be hungry. So yeah, having fat at every meal usually helps to keep those hunger pangs at bay. So, question number 3. I'm gathering this right now. Warning, controversial question, controversial question, controversial.
Oh, go there, Mary.
I will. I'm going. I'm there. I'm here. Oh, here I am. Oh my God. I made it. I made it through the controversy. This is about saturated fats. Are saturated fats bad for me? I hear this question all the time, and I have to tell you, I have been up and down and over and around this question for a number of years. First, I thought they were bad, then I thought they were okay, and then the last couple of years, I've been doing a bunch of research on it, and the studies actually do show that high amounts of saturated fat in the diet are correlated with a higher risk for cardiovascular, aka heart disease, and that people or cultures that have lower saturated fats in their diet tend to have lower rates of heart disease. Now again, this is going to be contingent upon a variety of different factors, including your ancestry, your genetics, what kinds of saturated fat you're eating, but in general, the research does show that decreasing saturated fat is beneficial to your cardiovascular system. Whew. Has the controversy begun?
Oh, yeah, it's just getting started.
Okay. So does this mean that you can never eat saturated fat again? No. And what are we talking about with saturated fat? We're talking about a lot of animal products, the cheese, the dairy, the high-fat foods in that category, coconut oil, palm oil. There's even some saturated fat in things like cashews. Not a very large amount, but it can add up over the course of the day. So when we're talking about how much, remember I mentioned how many percentages of, or how much percentage of your calories should come from fat in general? Around 30%. So for saturated fat, it should be around 10% of the calories. Again, what does that mean? Around 20 grams of saturated fat per day is around what you should stick to. Again, going to be individualized, work with a health practitioner on this, but that's the general guideline for saturated fats. So the way that I like to also advise people look at the saturated fat equation discussion is to understand what their blood labs say. So saturated fat does increase cholesterol. It increases specifically a type of cholesterol, the LDL cholesterol, but not just the number, but the number of particles of LDL cholesterol, which are the true indicators of the risk of cardiovascular disease. So get those numbers tested. Look at inflammatory markers in the blood. That can help you understand whether saturated fat is having an impact on you and your personal health. That sounded really confusing in some ways. Do you feel like you got a good sense of that information?
Well, the main thing that I'm left wondering is what food has saturated fat?
Okay, I don't know if you remember, about a few minutes ago I mentioned animal products, bacon, red meat. The fat of most animal products contains some saturated fat. It's high in dairy, the high-fat dairy, coconut, palm oil, things like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I needed to hear it a second time.
I think people need to hear that because sometimes it is confusing. So it's helpful to hear a little bit of extra information a couple extra times.
Okay, I just am a little excited and a little nervous about the controversy about to explode out there.
Well, controversy is what makes the nutritional field so dynamic and exciting. It's what wakes me up in the morning, is the controversy. The thing with saturated fats too is really about what you replace them with. So if you decide to cut back your saturated fats, you're like, well, I think I'll just have a bunch of Fruit Loops because those are fat free. That's not going to necessarily be beneficial for your cardiovascular health. But what will be are you ready? And there's no controversy here. Take a breath, everybody. The good fats. So question number 4, Mary Purdy, what are some good fats? Let's all take a deep breath and think about this together. I want to talk about 3 fatty foods that I'm going to highlight. Number 1 is pistachios. Even the word is fun to say. Pistachios. No one thinks about this nut, and many people think it is a fattening nut, but it is actually just replete with these beautiful, healthy fats called monounsaturated fats that are incredibly supportive to the heart. So this is a wonderful nut to get in the diet. And you could even make your own pistachio ice cream, not from Baskin Robbins or Breyers or the other companies that are out there that I don't even know the names of because there are so many, with your frozen banana, your pistachio nuts, and whip that baby up in a blender and you got your pistachio ice cream right there. 3 ingredients. I forgot the vanilla as well. So pistachios, wonderful, beautiful fat. Number 2, makes another appearance in the show. Avocado. Again, wonderful monounsaturated fats. And the thing that I love about avocados is that it's not just healthy in fat, it's got wonderful fiber in it. So fiber is also very beneficial to your cardiovascular health. So we've got 2 in 1 here. We are feeding 2 birds with 1 stone with healthy fats and healthy carbohydrate fiber. And lastly, I want to highlight the olive oil, because not only do these have those healthy heart supportive monounsaturated fats, but these are rich with those plant chemicals, good kinds of chemicals that act as antioxidants in the body and can be very beneficial for inflammation and general heart health. So that's the good uncontroversial news. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy some pistachios, avocado, and olive oil. And if you can mix all 3 of those in a salad, well, God bless your heart. Or goddess bless your heart, or whoever.
Good point. I feel like this is the Q&A time of the show. Okay. So any questions you have out there watching, go ahead and drop those in the chat. And I think I might get started with some questions of my own, which are, first of all, Mary, let's be honest.
Controversy?
We eat some coconut.
Yes.
In our lives. And
yes, we do.
I half expected that to come up in a big way in your question number 4, the healthy fats. But I also know that there might be some saturated fat in there. So can you break that down and let me know, like, eat it, don't eat it? What's the deal?
Yes, I believe that there are definitely benefits to the fat of coconuts. I mean, coconuts were put on this earth for some reason. They can't all be all bad. However, the research around coconut fat has been related to the actual entirety of the coconut meat and milk. So if you want the beneficial fats, you want to get them combined with the fiber of the meat and the healthy sugars, natural sugars of the coconut milk as well. So it's not that coconut oil is a bad thing at all. I think it's very helpful for making lots of food taste super yummy. It just needs to be incorporated into that overall intake of around 20 grams of saturated fat a day. So I do enjoy a little bit of coconut on my oatmeal or coconut milk curry, or a touch of coconut oil to saute my veggies in. It's just a matter of not overdoing it.
Awesome.
Do you feel satiated with that knowledge?
That is really helpful. That's like having a coconut avocado pistachio smoothie.
Souffle. Oh, or a smoothie. Yeah, excellent.
Well, it's time to start wrapping things up.
Okay.
There's doesn't look like there's any other questions out there. It's a little quiet on the chat today.
Not yet.
Oh, what happens now?
Yes. What happens now?
Can you want to just recap what happened today?
Okay. All right. It's the recap. First I introduced myself, And then we talked about Keith, and we pretended we were having dinner, and then I threw some numbers around and brought out some of these things, and mentioned avocado and this, and some of these almonds, which I meant to eat, but forgot to do that during the show. I'm going to eat one right now.
Bold. Very bold.
There's some controversy. A little bit of controversy around the saturated fat. There was some satiation around the knowledge with coconut oil. And then you said you want to wrap it up and recap.
Well, I wouldn't say that was the most helpful recap, but I accept, in the true vein of wrapping up here.
Was it a controversial recap?
It was. I would say it was an entertaining recap.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
so I'll give you high points there.
Okay.
Hey, if you appreciated the show today, help us out by subscribing to the Mary Purdy YouTube channel. Let us know what nutrition-related topic you want to hear about. You can let us know in a comment or a post, or send a snail mail, a carrier pigeon, whatever you have. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Mary, for your knowledge and everything. You will definitely want to join us next week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Why, Mary?
Because we will be talking about another exciting topic of sugar. Bum, 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 bum.
Honey.
Ba, 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 ba. Don't want to miss this particular episode. It's going to be great.
Sugar. Wait, is it about honey or sugar or what is it?
Honey. It's about a little bit of everything. It's just about sweetness in general. I promise you'll learn a lot. And it might be somewhat controversial.
Awesome. Thank you again. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.